We are in an age where people want to live but never grow old. We are in an age where we set ridiculous goals to achieve, especially before the age of 30. We want to have owned our dream car, house, been married. I think that's debatable. Travel the world, had fun, lots of it, and I'd say fun, have a lot of fun. But let's be honest. How many of us are able to achieve these goals within such a short span of time? Welcome to today's show. My name is Shalmit Njogu, and this is One Podcast, your everyday Christian lifestyle podcast. Today, we are going to talk about contentment. It is a term foreign to our age. We want things. We are in the age of social media where we look at people we admire, and also we are able to look at the lives of the people we went to school with. And so there is a lot of pressure to achieve that. A 21-year-old has, I don't know what type of a car, and I'm here 25 and I haven't figured out life yet, why I'm here on earth. I want riches, but how do I get there? How do I achieve my goals? And even if I have a vision, it seems like it's going to take me a long time. Yet, I do not have a lot of time. Remember the age of 30. And also, I don't want to grow old. And also, I have to afford the most expensive perfume, makeup, hair. I want everything to myself. Yet, I may or may not have figured out why I'm here. And even if I have, I'm still not able to get there. There is a certain birthday where I hoped that if it were possible, I'd skip my that day and go to the next one. Now, my birthday is on 30th of November, and I hoped that I'd skip from 29th of November if I'd lay on my bed. I'd wake up on the 1st of December because to me, I was a failure. I was failing. I haven't achieved much. In fact, there is nothing to show for my life. I was bitter, um, lacked contentment, lacked gratitude, complained a lot. And that was probably one of my worst birthday. And I know this particular discussion is not a stranger to many of us, especially if you're in your 20s, because there is this pressure to want to make it before that year. And also, this I don't know whether it's the conditioning of the social media and maybe the movies that we've watched over time, where when someone turns 30, it's like you're so old and there is no life. Is there no life after 30? And did God really give us our 20s to live and then the rest is doom? Anyhow, back to my birthday. I noticed because I was so bitter and I complained a lot, really. I don't want to say bitter, maybe, but I complained a lot. And I realized I cannot carry on like this. Something has to change in my life. And so the following year, one of the goals of the year was to be grateful. I don't know if you know this, but it has happened to me a few times where the Holy Spirit goes to my journal and reads and actualizes whatever it is I wrote down because I don't think I prayed that I want to be grateful. I just wrote it down. I want to be grateful. And all of a sudden, I became grateful over small things. Literally, even the ugly things and ugly events that had taken place in my life, I began seeing everything from a positive point of view. And so, if you want to have gratitude, you must be grateful and you must remember the things that God has already done for you. In Exodus 32, the children of Israel are in the wilderness. This must be maybe that is something day where Moses is up on the mountain with God, and the children of Israel have been left in the hand of Aaron down the mountain. And so they grow impatient. We've been here for a long time 40, 30 something days. It was going to 40 days because Moses was up on the mountain on the 40th for 40 days. And they complained and they said, this fellow, Moses, we don't know where he is. Let's make gods for ourselves who will go before us. Let us make a God for ourselves who will go before us. And something that the children of Israel forgot is that God, one, they forgot the God who had taken them out of Israel with such a mighty hand. They forgot how God sent them Moses to come and save them from Pharaoh and to deliver them and to lead them out of Egypt. They forgot the plagues and how these plagues occurred and how God made such a distinction between the children of his children and the Egyptians, that the plagues affected the Egyptians, and for them, they were not affected. The land of Goshen was not affected. Like this plague where there was darkness for 3 days and 3 nights. And in Egypt, but for Goshen, there was light. They forgot about this God who has not only led them through the Red Sea, but the very Red Sea he has used to deliver them is the very same Red Sea that God has drowned all of their enemies. And so we complain and we lack contentment because we are looking at other things, we are looking at our circumstances, we are looking at other people and allowing them to form our perception of where we ought to be. Yet God knew that they were going to be in the wilderness, or at least in that specific Mount Sinai for 40 days. But we grow impatient when God has said, you should stay here for 40 days. Most of the time, He doesn't say for how long. He didn't even tell them for how long He was going to be with Moses up on the mountain. He never tells, but if He says stay, then we gotta stay. And we cannot afford to to complain, but to be grateful, to remember how His hand has saved us in the past, how His hand has carried us, how He was providing, and He has provided for us our daily bread. How for the children of Israel, God was their like security man. There was a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, and the cloud never left its place, and the pillar of fire never left its place. Ever. We forget we complain because we forget the things that God has already done. His hand that is continually upon us, even when there is no movement. I think we associate movement with progress, but sometimes movement does not mean progress. There is this thing I used to do. I used to write letters to my daughter, and I don't have a daughter yet. I'm not married. Maybe God will give me one someday. I do not know. And I wrote to her once and said, what do you do when you're on a highway? There is no traffic, but you notice a sign written stop. You can't even see an accident. What do you do when you see that sign written stop? And I said to her, it is easier to go on than to stop, because why am I stopping? But one thing I've learned with God, and especially after that birthday, is that God will take you on a journey, and it will not look like other people's. It will not look like the people on social media. It will not look like the people you went to school with. It will be unique to yourself. And so if you forget, you're going to be such a complaining person, and you don't want that. Number two, if you wanna have contentment, you gotta remember God's faithfulness, which is tied to point one. You have to remember that God is faithful. that rely on his character, that if he said something, then he's definitely going to do it because he is faithful. He cannot deny himself. It's written, even when I'm faithless, he remains faithful because he can never deny himself. He's the unchanging God. He is not a man to lie, not a human being to change his mind, but that he has said, will he not do? And that he has spoken, will he not make it good? He will make it good. And I'll give you this example. So this year, a friend of mine, a close friend, was my friends. We are getting married. And but now let me associate with the guy, although I know both, and they're both my friends. They were getting married, and so of course I was going to be involved at some point in the wedding preparation. And so I think maybe in January, their wedding was in April. Maybe in January, I went to God and told him, God, I know according to dreams I've had, it seems like we are in the same, or we are, yes, we are in the same season with my friend here. But this has not happened to me. In fact, there is no one who is pursuing me. Therefore, God, I pray for contentment. I pray, help me to serve them with everything. And that moment of surrender where I did not compare myself and thought, why not me? Why is it not happening to me? I made it God, I made it, I gave God my heart so that I will not be in a position of comparison. And if I compare, then I'm going to be jealous. If I'm going to be jealous, I cannot serve her when she needs me the most, and or at least when they need me the most. And I'll be so consumed with my own jealousy that I'll not even see the beauty and the fulfillment of God's promises upon her life. And so that's one practical way of going about through this. When you realize I lack contentment in this area, or there is potential of dissatisfaction, because now that could have been potential of dissatisfaction and questioning God, which is not okay. Because it was a potential and I gave my heart to God, then I was able to be present. This is such a practical way of asking God to give you contentment in that area as you wait for your turn. There is this poem I had written where I'm standing in a line, I'm holding a ball, sorry. I'm holding a ball. I'm trying to peer when will be when will my time come? When will my time come? But then because every time you're like this, you get so tired. The best thing to do is to stay in place and wait for your turn. Because as you wait for your turn, you're holding this ball that you're supposed to be I don't know the time that you're supposed to be harnessing your skills and everything as you wait for that time when you'll be the next person and not comparing or trying to be impatient by peering always. Kwani mwenye ako mbele hasongi? Kwa nini hii kiwa haisongi? Like, yeah. Anyhow, the third point, which is now, this one I encourage you to go and do. All the days that were written for you are in God's book. God wrote all the days of your life in his book, even before one of them came to be. And so instead of lacking contentment and comparing yourself to others or panicking, thinking that you're failing, that your age is approaching, age is catching up with you, and you haven't done much, instead of being anxious and being fearful, seek the Lord. Seek what he has written concerning you in his book. He's going to tell you. Because that's the reason why he brought you here, so that you can fulfill that. So seek the Lord. When you seek the Lord and he tells you that this is the path that I want you to take, you're able now to stay in your own lane and you don't have to compare yourself and your life with other people. And that will bring contentment, whether you have much or little. That's it for this episode. Have a fantastic weekend ahead.